Nathan, 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 NathanIvey.com. Mr. Ivy know the show must go on. And far as Cincinnati, man, I put on. Tunes made another flame beat for me to cook on. Raised arms, close fists, yeah, too strong. Team NI, chop it up at the chop shop. Top notch with the king flow, the hot shot. Cop squats in, listen to the real, jumping like hopscotch. Nobody harder than, oh, no, think not. Not only citywide, but nationwide. Superlatives, keep it locked like them Haitian guys. Put the truth in the airways, we talk about it. Brand new like the templates, let's be about it. Who got the info about it? Hey, yo, John O. B. the rapper, got them jamming when they play him. Staying in my lane, they ain't gotta okay him. Who the host with the scoop? Yeah, they gon' say him. Ivy, so superlative like a bag of Grippos. Show you where the bricks at, Cincinnati Reds at. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at. It's the 5-1-3, yeah, you know the flow. What's the word, Nate? Let them know the show. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at.
Broadcasting live from a secret location somewhere in the Cincinnati area. And Cincinnati has a new voice. It's the Nathan Ivey Show and our various podcasts. Good morning to you. Welcome back. Today is December 21st, 2021. Damn, this year been quick. Where does this year go? Where did this year go? As you look back over this year, was this a good year for you personally? Was this a good year for you professionally in your business endeavors, whatever your goals are, your bucket list? We get ready for 2022. It's just something about 2022 that just sounds lucky to me. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I'm a forever optimist, even though I am a Virgo. And a lot of Virgos can be very cynical. But I'm a forever optimist. I look forward to the new year, right? To new surroundings, to a new beginning. Good morning to you. Look at that man on the screen right there. That's Black Santa. Those are the only Santas that will be allowed on the Nathan Ivey Show. We don't do white Santa. Now, if that's racist, so fucking be it. So be it. Speaking of which, tell your kids the truth about Santa. There is no damn Santa. Period. Tell them quick. Don't lie to your kids. Save your lies for reasons that you really need to lie to your kids about, not some goofy ass holiday. Come on now. I get all the credit. We get all the credit in our household. We bought that. Our children have always known. My son has always known. Stop lying to children this morning. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. I was not with you yesterday, but it is my pleasure to be with you today. And as always, man, there's a lot to talk about. I could spend the next 4 hours just talking about everything that's been in the news. Some things may or may not be on your radar screen. I want to talk about the future of black media a little bit this morning. We must talk about that. I love to talk about the media. I love to talk about, what's happening in terms of black media trends. That's just my wheelhouse. I find those conversations to be fascinating. And there is some interesting news about a brand new um, media channel that's focused on black audiences. So I want to talk about that this morning. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Here we are, 4 days away from Christmas. I got Christmas music for you and everything. I am prepared this morning. I am prepared. Roll the music. Roll it. Okay, maybe not. Good morning to you. King writes, where did yesterday go, Big Nate? Happy to see you made it out alive in my Rick Ross voice. Okay, I'm doing well. There you go. I was ready for it. I'm ready for it. Good morning to you. Now, I'm going to put the cam on. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm repping the University of Cincinnati. Why? Because I gave these fools a lot of my damn money. That's why. And I want to see a return. Look at that. Oh, that looks nice. Some KE in the background. Blurring like that. Nice little soft lighting behind me. Looks great. Good morning to you. Feels great. Look at that. You see. They're going to beat Alabama, damn it. Nobody said they're going to beat Alabama. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. And I hope that the holiday season, you may not be into Christmas and all the particulars about all that, but you might just be like, hey, I'm going to take this time off. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your time. Good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to the Nathan Ivey Show. It's a wonderful place where nothing is funnier than the truth. Men are expected to be men. Okay? Ooh, that might be politically incorrect. And sucker MCs get dealt with. Good morning to you. We got a lot to talk about. KM Scott writes, listening from DC, Bond Hill Rage. You in DC, huh? Damn, everybody's talking about DC right now. What's happening with Congress, in particular, the U.S. Senate, in particular, a senator from West Virginia, Joe Manchin. He sunk my battleship somewhere. Joe Biden is not happy with Joe Manchin, all these damn Joes. Used to be a time when you could depend on a man named Joe. Not anymore. Remember G.I. Joe? You could depend on G.I. Joe. We can't depend on these Joes these days. Joe Dieters, Joe Manchin, Joe Biden. Good old days when you could depend on a man named Joe. That's over with. That's over with. Deborah writes, always lie. Let your kids have make-believe in fairies and Santas for as long as they'll have them, because they will not have this innocence forever. Nathan is a Grinch. No, Nathan is not. I'm not a Grinch. I just keep it Rizzo with the kids. I'm not lying. Listen, there might be some good reasons for me to lie to my children. Santa Claus ain't one of them. Tell your kids the truth. Damn it. Why do I have to keep saying this every damn year? Tell your kids the truth. Don't lie to them little people, man. Because when they lie to you about even something small, you're going to get in your feelings about it. Why you lie to me? And they hit you with, well, you lie to us about Santa. What you going to say? That was for your own good. It don't work that way. Good morning to you. Queen Maxine writes, great grand risings to all of the righteous seekers. Good morning to you. Brenda writes, she's, oh boy. You're not going to like what I have to say this morning. You may not like it. Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. I don't know. I'll just be honest with you. I make you this pledge. I'll always be honest with you. I'll tell you that off the top, no matter what we're talking about, you get the straight real from me. Good morning to you. Let's talk about Black News Channel. I'm reading, and shout out to Anthony and Crystal and Jenny and all the good people that are posting, and the friends who like the Nathan Ivey Show. Again, I go there every single day, whether I post or not, every single day. And it's a primary, that's the number one stop for me to get information about what to talk about. To be honest with you, that's just how I do it. Good morning to you. But I've been reading something crazy, man. I've been liking the Black News Channel. And we've been, since I follow media trends, we've been talking about the Black News Channel since it was just an idea. It was just an idea. when we first started talking about it, and I gave you my thoughts on it. I thought it was an excellent idea. Why not? More is more. Why can't we have it? If you're not hip to the Black News Channel or BNC, they are a digital based 20. Well, they're not even digital based because honestly, they're on cable. They're on Fire Stick. It's a 24-hour news channel that gives coverage on news, sports, and entertainment. I have been watching them primarily on YouTube, and I love what I see. I love the branding of it. Is the presentation of it, and also the substance. I'm with it on all those three facets. I think it's a great idea. Hope that they're successful. It was started by a Black Republican, J.C. Watts. Although when I watch it, I don't pick up on a bias politically one way or the other. I don't really get a bias. You might look at it and say, okay, they're biased toward Democrats, but I don't really pick up on that. And maybe I'm not watching enough of it. And they just kicked off this year. Now, it was started by J.C. Watts, who I believe he was a college football player, and then he went on to be a congressperson. Did he become a senator? Was J.C. Watts a senator? I know he was a congressperson. I don't think he was a senator, but J.C. Watts. And he started with some other Black folks. I mean, this started like 4 or 5 years ago when they started talking about it. It took them a while to really get to where they are now. And then they got some big money. They got a big investment from a billionaire. And the man who is the real now principal owner of the Black News Channel. It's called the Black News Channel, but it's not even Black owned at this point per se. But there's a Pakistani billionaire. His name is Shad Khan. And he also is the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So you might have seen his name in the news because they just fired their coach. And his name is Shad Khan, and he is the principal owner of the Black News Channel. They just kicked it off really this year. Like things really got formalized with the branding and the YouTube channel and the social media. It really just started this year. And again, I love the idea of it. Why not? I love the idea of it. I would tweak a few things, but I love the idea of it. And, as a Black man who's looking to look for media that speaks to me, I go there on a regular basis, from time to time, you know what I'm saying? And just to get news, not really show prep ideas, but really just news, see what's going on. But I'm reading that they are laying people off. They're laying off a bunch of folks right before the holidays. Now, why the hell do people do that? Why do these businesses do this right before the holidays? Now, they doing this because it's right before the new year. They're trying to clean the books or something like that. But right before the holidays, I see this across the board, but I see it's a lot in media. But right before the holidays is when a lot of people get left off, get fired. And it's like, you knew you was gonna do this shit before Thanksgiving, right? Why not do this? If you're gonna do this, why to do this like earlier in the holiday season? I don't understand it. But this happens a lot in December. I've been seeing a lot of this in the news. Have you seen this as well? People getting fired like right before the holidays. And I'd like to know what you think about that. I used to work for a Christian-oriented nonprofit organization in the city of Cincinnati, and I work very closely with a Black female. And I say it again, at first, I didn't really care for her. But I grew to like her and even to respect her and then to like her. And I saw that she got fired like right before the holidays. And I had to really, when you're in a situation like that, you always got to think about yourself, right? Especially if you got kids and a family and a wife and all that kind of stuff. But I couldn't deal with it, man. It's just some things I just, you can't dog my people out around me or dog people out around me and then think I trust you. I just can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm different. Everybody's in a different situation. Jenny writes, you're very welcome. Love the group. Thank you so much, Jenny. I thank you. And Anthony, thank you so much, brother. Y'all be going super hard. I appreciate it. Believe me, I appreciate it. I go there every single day. And I want to see what you post. And then when I see what you think, I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is what the audience might be into. So it's invaluable. I can't stretch it enough. It is invaluable. And if you're listening like, man, I ain't, what group is this? I'm in a lot of groups. Well, then join our group. It's called the Friends Who Like the Nathan Ivey Show. Real simple. It's a closed group. Just knock on the door and the door will be opened. So they are laying off people. And I thought this is very, very odd. Right now, from what I'm reading, BNC employs roughly, that's Black News Channel, they employ roughly 300 people. And they got a brother named Mark Lamont Hill. He's in the evening. I like it. It's really interesting because what they have done is they've set this up to mirror Fox News and MSNBC and CNN. Like it's set up like a big time cable news network in the sense that during the day you get a lot of hard news, right? You get a lot of news reporting, and then in the evening they have more opinionated shows where you have a host who may be giving his opinion about the news that they talked about during the day, and that's how BNC is set up. But I like it. I like it. They got a morning show as well, and apparently, from what I'm reading, they put out a statement saying that because of inflation and because of the economy and all this kind of stuff, they're not really making enough money. And it could be their initial business plan. You know what I'm saying? That cable channel route, that's a tough one. I mean, just ask Puffy with Revolt. Just ask Puffy with Revolt. And not to say anything negative about Black people in particular, this is just a human thing, but Revolt is selling sex, culture, music, dancing. They're selling culture, right? Which is far more digestible than news. It is. And yet they're struggling. But perhaps the audience is changing and news is becoming more of a premium, especially if it's news with a certain edge to it. So I don't know. That's just a really, really tough route there. We'll see if what happens with them. I don't suspect that they're gonna go away. They may change. They may change and pivot and things like that. But I wasn't happy necessarily to see that. Apparently, they got distribution deals with AT&T's Direct TV, Dish Network Corp, Comcast Corp, Xfinity, and it puts them potentially in 52 million households. And that's a great thing. We'll have to, and they're on the Fire Stick. So even if you don't have cable, you can get access to cable, sort of like, you know, uh, cable channels with your Fire Stick. So we'll have to wait and see. There's a couple of other national Black media outlets that I know are firing up here in 2022. You might even hear about some of this in the city of Cincinnati, coming up. I'd love to be the first person to tell you about this. And they've got different um business models and different strategies. It's just very, very interesting. A lot of people are looking at Ozzy Media, and they were saying, "Oh, well, the failure of Ozzy Media is yet another example of the failure of Black media." But even though Carlos Watson was the CEO and leader, he was not the principal owner. And I used to go to Ozzy Media. They weren't Black focused. Their focus was something completely different, and they struggled as well. They had a completely different model with different assets. So I just find this to be very fascinating and keep my eye on what other people are doing. On the one hand, Nate says, tell the truth about Santa. On the other, he thinks the holidays should be consideration for employers. Pick a side, Nate. What now? What? Huh? On the one hand, Nate says, tell the truth about Santa. On the other hand, he thinks the holidays should be a consideration for employers. I don't understand what you mean by that, Deborah. I don't see the contradiction there. Santa Claus is a myth that was made up for various reasons, not the least of which is to sell products, and not the least of which. But then the holidays are completely separated from Santa. One has nothing to do with the other. You know what I'm saying? People celebrate some people celebrate the holidays because of their faith. Has nothing to do with Santa. Deborah, you tripping. I can't make no sense out of that nonsense. You tripping this morning. What is she talking about? See, we losing points already. Glenn writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. Good morning to you, Glenn. Nakia writes, good morning, all. Jeffrey writes, good morning, y'all. Hey, good morning. Good to see you, Jeffrey. What's up? What's up? Gladys writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. Season greetings, absolutely. Vanessa writes, I agree. I've always told my kids the truth about Santa. Kids, Santa Claus is a Black woman named Mommy. They're grown now and appreciate that I didn't lie. Exactly. Santa Claus is a Black person. If you are growing up in a Black household, simple as that, is Mommy and Daddy. Deborah, I'm just teasing you, Nate. I know, I'm just messing with you back. I know. And you know how we do. know how we do. You already know. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. So I'll keep my eyes on Black News Channel. I mean, I think we need it. Why don't we? Now you got Black News Channel. You got Roland Martin with the Black Star Network. I think he's doing something a little bit different. Why not? You got all these other channels that seemingly are saying the same things and speaking to the same people. Why not? I mean, I get it. I get it. I would not be, if you're a fan of that news channel, I would not be surprised if you see them pivot and become something more like TYT. In fact, that might be, where they gravitate to. Because look at TYT, the Young Turks. I remember when TYT and it was didn't have they it was just it was just a show on Air America. You might remember Air America many, many, many moons ago. It was the progressive communities and it was progressive media's response to Fox News. So think about Fox News, only progressive or Democrat leaning. And that's what they were. And you had people that sit around today on there like Rachel Maddow. She started there. I was just telling somebody the other day about that. She started on doing Air America, and then the Young Turks were on Air America many, many years ago. Then they left there and they went over to they had a show for a little while on I think it was MSNBC or CNN, but I think it was MSNBC. That didn't work out. They said, "Bump it, we're gonna do our own thing on YouTube," and that was 10 years ago. Look at what they're doing now. So I would not be surprised if you look at TYT. That seems to be a successful business model. Not saying they got it all figured out in terms of media. I wouldn't be surprised if BNC does something very similar. Remember, you heard it here first. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. Gail writes, good morning, Nate. Enjoy the holidays. I absolutely plan on it. I mean, for us, that just means hanging out. I'm not going to do anything different. I'm not going to get really, really deep in the religion bag about it. You already know we ain't no Santa Claus-ish. But, we'll give them a few little gifts. We'll have some dinner together and kind of enjoy some time off. That's about it. What else? What else you want from me? That's it. That's the extent of what I have. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. So I saw this inside the friends page. Speaking of which, somebody posted this asking, like, what would you do? And I'm going to tell you what I would do. It's a video of a woman begging a man not to leave her. Begging him. I mean, she is like begging. And I'm like, oh, this is embarrassing, sis. Get off your knees. But for men out there who may find yourselves in these situations that could be compromising, hell, it could be consequential. Hey, big brother Nate, Uncle Nate, however you want to look at it, I'm here to give you some advice. So I'll play that for you and we'll talk about it in just a little bit. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. I wasn't with you yesterday because I love the tease. I love to tease Bengal fans. I love the tease Bengal fans because y'all are just so susceptible to teasing. Y'all are. But I can't tease you today because y'all got y'all a big win against the Denver Broncos on Sunday. Defense showing up and everything. I didn't even realize this, but the Bengals are number one in their division, which means that if they stay there, they getting a shot to the playoffs. Okay, look at you, Bengal fan. That'll be a big turnaround. They won, how many games they won so far? 8 games, 9 games, something like that. Damn, a hell of a lot more than you won last year. So I would say no matter what happens, it's a success to my Bengal fans out there. Brenda writes, do you have a Charlie Brown Christmas tree in your house? I do. I think. I don't know what that means, Brenda. Our Christmas tree is about this big. I kid you. Okay, it might be about this big. It might be like from the table right here. It's like that big. It's pretty small. We don't need no big ass fucking Christmas tree and all this stuff. I don't need all of that. Because you know why? Because we we don't need no big old Christmas tree. We don't need all of that. She said, good morning. We don't need all of that. You know why? Because mommy and daddy are going to have to pick that shit up and put it all together and then break it all down. We don't have time for that. That's like a whole nother hour. I don't have an hour of my life putting up a tree. We put our tree up together in 15 minutes, if that. 10 minutes, maybe. It's the best thing ever. So if you're going to do the Christmas thing, get yourself a little tree. You don't need no big old. What I need all that shit for? God damn it. Stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. I don't care how big the Joneses tree is. This is not a phallic in any way infused in any way conversation. I'm just saying. We don't need a big Christmas tree. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like this big. You know what I'm saying? We take a little couple pieces of string, we put it around there. Boom, there it is. That's all we need. Queen Maxine writes, I read somewhere that the prices of black doll babies at these major stores have been much higher than the white ones. I read that there was some talk about that down in, I want to say Kentucky. In Kentucky, somebody found that at a department store or some store down there that the black doll babies were more expensive than the other doll babies. I would say if that's true, that's a microcosm of America. So it costs more money to be black. It costs more money to be poor in America. It's amazing how that works. If you're rich, things cost less. If you're poor, things cost more. It's crazy. Who needs a tree? That's right. Bah humbug. We on a damn tree. I don't remember the Charlie Brown. Hold on, let me look at this up. Charlie Brown Xmas tree. Oh yeah. That's exactly what we got. That's exactly. You think I'm joking? That's exactly what we got. That's exactly my Christmas tree. It's the easiest tree. One little bulb on it. No stars. I see y'all, and I'm not trying to shame you. You do you. You know, everybody's household is different. But I see people with these big. The tree is like taking over a whole corner of the living room or of wherever y'all at, the entertainment room. And all these decorations. Like some of y'all, man, it's lights flashing. There's like a train set that's running with a train, a little miniature train on the tracks through the tree. Like, how you do that? You know what I'm saying? The tree talks to you. It's like a karaoke damn tree. You walk past the tree just like searches your iPod and plays your favorite songs. Where you get this shit from? Where you get this shit from? What y'all doing? How much money that costs? You know, you walk past a tree, it's got holograms of, loved ones that's passed already. I don't need all of that. You know what I'm saying? You dance in front of the tree, gumballs fall out. What the fuck? Wait, huh? No. We got one little simple Charlie Brown tree. You want to see my tree? I'll show it to you. This is my tree right here. You think I'm joking? This is my tree. I'm with you, Charlie Brown. Keep it simple, man. All that money people paying for extravagant trees, that's food money. That's food money. Hold on, let me show you real quick. You see my tree. And when you see this tree, you're gonna be like, damn, he lucky. I guarantee you. You're gonna wish you had a tree like me. Hold on one second. You're gonna wish. This is not an actual picture of our tree. Hold on. Let me see. This is not an actual picture of our tree, but it's a very close, it's very close to what we rocking with. Ain't got all that extra stuff people got. Here it is, right here. That's us. That is us. That's the Nathan Ivey family. That's the Ivey family tree right there. And we got a couple of candy canes. I must admit, we got 2 candy canes on it, and that's it. That's all you need. Man, listen. I see people with these big old I'm like, damn, how you get that in your house? Take you 2-3 days just to get the tree in the house. Then you're tired. You got to take a nap before you even start putting the tree together. Hell no. Then you got to think about after Christmas, taking all that shit down. Hell no. Now, if that makes me a Scrooge, then so be it. Let me see. Look at some of these trees right here. Let me see. Let me show you this. Right. This is too much. Too much. You'll never see a shit in my house. And if you do, I didn't put that shit up. We paid somebody to do that. So how you put this tree up? Service. That'd be a good Christmas tree service. They come put the tree up, put all the fixings on it. They come pick the tree up and take it with them. I like that. Like rent to own for trees. I like that. You'll never see this in my household. You'll never see this shit. Look at all of that. Look at all of that shit. Look at that. Like all those colors, red and blue. What is that shit on there? Streamers, canes, candy canes. I see lights. What the fuck else do it? I don't even know what that yellow stuff is, but it's glowing. Is this what your tree looks like? Send me. Listen, take a picture of your tree and send it to me.
What?
See that tree right there, son?
How many candy canes are going ornaments are those?
We're never gonna have that tree. We're never gonna have. This is more like our tree right here, right? That is our tree.
No, it's not.
That is our tree.
That's not. We don't have one ornament. We
Go with the
have
program,
candy
son.
canes.
Go with the program, son.
No, that is not our tree. Our tree has candy canes on it. Not a lot of, not one ornament. Dad, do you need to go to the Christmas tree and look at it?
Thank you, son. That's all I need.
You need to go look at the Christmas tree.
Are you gonna say good morning to the people? Say
Good morning. And I got my hair cut.
You did. Your daddy got you together. Look at my boy looking good.
And I got to play 2K.
That's a son. That's a daddy's birthright. Whoa, you knocking down stuff. You pick my phone up, please. Can you cover your mouth, please? Thank you. It's Omicron out here.
And I play 2K.
Look at this boy's head. Look at him. Mwah.
And I play 2K.
Let me look at you. Yes, you play 2K. Let me see. Yeah, you looking good. Go brush
There
it.
was the Lakers versus.
Go
the
get your brush.
Horses.
Go get daddy's brush and you can use my brush. Come in here messing up my flows. What do you think he is?
Don't say that.
Here. Go give it to your mother because I'm busy right now, as you can see. You're brushing the wrong way, sir. You're brushing. There you go. Go give it to your mother. Give it to your mother. Thank you. Come in here, dish. Come in here. I'm gonna set this whole thing up. He gonna come here and tell me here. Come here telling his truth. Who do you think he is? Oh my God, these children these days. Oh man, Ashley writes, kids never lie. They sure don't. I got this whole flow going on. Well, I'll tell you this much. This is our tree. This is much closer to our tree than this. If this is your tree, you're doing too much. If this is your minimalism, I love minimalism. God damn children. Come in here talking that talk. Damn. Tanika Rice Jr. is getting tall. He is. He is. He's going to be tall. Dale writes, yeah, I always cut my son's hair. Dad's supposed to cut his own hair. That's right. I'm not taking my kid to no damn barber. Hell no. I'm his barber. I'm his barber until I decide I don't want to be his barber no more. And he'll be grown. Because nobody's going to, you got to take care of your kid's hairline. These barbers go in there, they want to just one cookie size. They want to start messing with his hairline. No, I understand the importance of a man's hairline. That line is important. And I will protect his hairline. Come here and show the people your hairline. Yeah. See that? Come here. See how it's still forming? Here, let me come here. See how it's still forming right here? You just can't let no barber just mess up your kid's hairline. Look at this. Look at this boy right here.
Pretzel.
Okay.
It's pretzel.
I knew when I set this up like this, we was gonna have just people just walking in the camera shot. I knew it was gonna happen. Ashley writes, it was, Daddy, do you need to go look at the tree for me? Right. Right. He's like, maybe he forgot. Daddy, go look at the tree again. He just killed my little flow, didn't he? Tanika writes, I'm so weak. Kids have no filter. They have no filter whatsoever. Believe me, every time he comes in here, I'm like, what is he going to say? Elo's in the house. What's up, Eloise? Good to see you. She writes, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Good morning to you. Sister V writes, good morning. Gotta love Lil Junior. That's right. Your firstborn son should be named after you. Period. These are the man rules. So let it be said. So let it be done. And when you have a son, you are his first barber. You cut his hair. Period. Period. Just like when have a little girl, that's the wife, that's the mother. You handle the hair. Have a son, I handle the hair. If he gets a part, I'm giving him a part. If his hair's gonna be messed up, I'm gonna mess up his hair. If he's gonna get cut by the razors or the clippers, it's gonna be me. That's a dad's right. Some things are set in stone. Sheila writes, "Good morning, Choppers, Nate and Mrs. Ivy. Thank you so much." I think she can hear. She's in the next room. Janice writes, "I have a beautiful apartment, floor-size artificial tree. Gorgeous. It'll last me for years." I remember we first got married. First got married 20-something years ago. We had our first Christmas. The wifey was like, "Are we going to go for a big tree and a little tree?" I looked at her like, little tree. Little tree. Little trees are always better. Get yourself a little tree. You'll never go big again. I know we live in a culture where bigger is always better, and I get it. But when it comes to Christmas trees, it's the exact opposite. Get yourself a little, look at your little, what was that character's name in the HBO series? Well, get yourself a little tree. That's it. Can't come to me fast enough. Gladys writes, "Beautiful black family life. I'm loving it. A big tree sitting by the curbside waiting picked up. Money well Smith." Right. I don't even know how much a Christmas tree costs. Literally, how big is that tree? I'll be honest with you. I think it's like 3 feet. I think it's like 3 feet. I swear to God, our tree looks something just like this. In terms of the height, it's no taller than that. Okay. And I'll be honest with you. It's got a little bit more, leaves and pine cones and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to get any old kind of tree. Just go get you some shrubs. Put them in like a little pot. Boom, there it is. There it is. This is too much. Look at that. And then you got to put everything back up. You got to put all the bulbs up. You got to put the streamers up. There's shit everywhere. Oh, my God. Such a pain in the ass. Such a pain. Y'all know it's a pain. If dad can't cut, that will only last until he goes to school and gets capped on. Then he will make dad rake him, take him to the barber. I know that's right. But these days, how could you not cut? All you got to do is get some clippers and cut them all short and then taper the sides. That's it. There's nothing more to it. I cut them all short. I taper the sides. I taper the back. I line them up in the back. He's not ready to be lined up right here. I see some of these little kids, man. Little man, his edges is sharper than mine. I'm like, no. He got baby hairs. Those baby hairs, you don't need to cut those. Let them grow. They look like a kid. LOL. Nakia writes, "Too much." That is too much. Nakia. Absolutely. Nate, why are you Christmas tree shaming? I'm not Christmas tree shaming. I'm not. I'm just simply sharing aspects of my life. We are a little tree family. Are you a big tree family or a little tree family? Everybody got different priorities. That's all I'm saying. Like literally, we got like a little wooden table. It's like really like a side table. And our 3 foot, it's more like 2.5 feet tree, sits right on that. The tree is so small, y'all, that all we have is just one line of lights on it. The tree is so small that one line of lights is like 5 feet. It goes around the tree like 5 times. Just one line of lights. I'm just trying to show you the virtues on that minimalist lifestyle. That's all. When you got a tree like this, that looks like at least 5. That's a 5 light tree. That's a 5 light tree right there. Like there's probably 5 separate lines of lights just to make that tree look good. That tree looks so good from the front that I bet you from the back, it looks the same. Like some people go all like the tree is in a corner, but the back side of the tree that's facing the corner looks as good as the front of the tree. That's too much. That's too much. With us, we got like a little 2.5 foot plastic tree. Literally, it sits on like a little table. 2 bulbs. That's all we need. 2 bulbs, one strand of lights. That's it. That's it. If we put too much more on the tree will fall over. Those are the kind of trees I like. Nice and easy. Minimalist. That's right. Keep it simple. Save that money for the more important things like drinking. I'm joking. Save that money like for your drugs. No, I'm joking. So that money for the gifts. You think I'm joking? You think I'm joking? Oh man, I have a cute table tree for my bedroom. Oh, okay, perfect. A table tree, those are the best. And that's what we have. We have a table tree. Like if we put the tree on the ground, it you probably would just forget. Like, why is that tree on the ground? It'd be like this big. So you put it on the table, it props it up. It's so easy peasy. Oh my God. The wife is like, want to put the tree up? The tree's up in 15 minutes. Best thing ever. I'm just sharing. Do what you want to do, but I'm just sharing. I'm just sharing. Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan and Choppers. Thank you for my husband and I for all the condolences on the passing of his father. Oh, absolutely. Sharp writes, good morning, Nathan and Choppers. Nate, what is the future of Black radio? Well, and this is just my opinion. Sharp writes this. He's in the Chop Shop on Spreaker. He wants to know, what is the future of Black radio? Well, no matter what anybody says, radio is not dying. Radio is not dying. You hear people say, oh, it's a dying medium. It is not a dying medium. And again, I haven't looked at the numbers lately, but it is not a dying medium. So the problem with Black radio, and let's define what that means when you say Black radio. Now, do you mean terrestrial radio? Now, terrestrial radio is you get into your car and you jiggle through the radio frequencies to find a station. Okay. Or a lot of these stations have apps and you can download and listen to their stream from their app, but it's based terrestrially, meaning they have like your bill, your 1230 The Buzz or your 700 WLW, or they got various, stations across the country. Ain't a whole lot of them. The problem with Black terrestrial radio is media consolidation. We never talk about it like this, but you got so few stations that are owned by so few people, right? Like in terms of Black radio, you got Radio One, and then you got some other very smaller players. But the problem is they own so much of it that there's no room for anybody else to own anything. So you got highly, highly concentrated media ownership. Now, let's expand that definition in terms of Black radio, because you got people like, you got Tariq Nasheed, Tariq Radio, right? Isn't that Black radio? Well, in the larger definition, sure it is. That's why I like to say Black media, because radio is different these days. Like this is radio to some people, right? I was just having a conversation with somebody. It was like, yeah, what you do is radio. It's just digitally based. So in terms of the digital landscape, it's wide open. As I said, I'm aware of at least 2 other, and you'll hear about it really soon, 2 other Black owned, and in some cases Black owned and Black focused media outlets that are going to speak to Black audiences. And I think it's great. I welcome everybody and what they're doing. Why not? So the problem that terrestrial radio has is that it still had that many of them are a part of a corporate system, and there's constraints with that. And one of the constraints is that they're slow to respond. So they're dealing with that. And they have more competition now from YouTube, from what we're doing here on Facebook, from what people are doing in terms of the digital landscape. So when I hear people say things like radio is dying, radio is not dying. It ain't going nowhere. It's just, as long as you can get in your car and hit that dial for free, it's not going anywhere because it's just too accessible. So it's not that radio is dying. It's just that they just have more competition. You got smart cars now where people can get in, and there are people listening to me right now, not watching me, in their car, on their smart radio because it can pick up the internet. It can pick up Spreaker. It can pick up TuneIn. The new generation of cars will all be able to do that. And when that happens, when that becomes mainstream, oh boy, now you really got competition, right? Because if you can get into your car and hit that dial for free and catch me or catch anybody just like you do your favorite terrestrial radio stations, well, then it just becomes a competition of content then. It's not about access. So hopefully that answers your question. To me, all the innovations that I see most of the innovations happening in the digital space. I see more and more of these things happening there just because there's space to move in there. If I wanted to own a radio station signal in Cincinnati, I couldn't because there's none available. They only have a finite amount of radio stations that are on. I mean, I guess with enough money, you can buy anything, right? Let's say you got a terrestrial radio station that's worth $2 million and somebody walks in here and says, I'm going to give you 5, then more than likely you're going to purchase it. But it works differently. It works differently. If you want to own a radio station, first you got to understand, you got to figure out whether there's a radio signal that's open. Matter of fact, I have a former colleague, a guy named Malcolm Ennis, who just bought 2 radio stations. And he's already said he'll come on, but I want to come on and just talk about his process and what his goals are and just walk us through, his entrepreneurial journey, even though he's talking about Black media. We've even talked about, and I mean, just preliminarily talked about maybe doing something together. You never know. I'm definitely open to it. So that's different. But in the digital land space, you could just, if you got good content, you just create your platform and let people know where you are. People can plug into it. So I love where we are in media these days because it's just so much more of it. It's just so much more of it. It's hard to figure out who's who and where's where and what's what sometimes, but it's just so much more of it that you're getting so many more perspectives. And, the game done changed. The game done changed. You got podcasts that are getting more views than legacy media. You know what I'm saying? You got podcasts that are more important or just as important, just as relevant. Look at ESPN. So ESPN was the juggernaut. And I say was because I think those days are over. And not only are they getting competition in terms of like viewership and audience time, attention span from people like Fox Sports 1, but they're also getting competition from podcasts like Up in Smoke, right? Where what happens on that podcast gets talked about now back on ESPN. It used to be the other way. It used to be the other way around where, did you see that interview on ESPN? Now it's, did you hear that interview with Up in Smoke? And I've watched ESPN when they report on what the podcast is doing. So it's just a different world. The same thing with this show. This show has broke news in the city of Cincinnati, and then legacy media has picked up on it. So it's all about access and content. And I just love the space that we're in right now because it's a space for creatives. It's a space for Black creators. Why not? Why not? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think about it. Now, how do we get started on this conversation? You just tuning in because part of what I do, I talk about people, politics, and pleasure, but I love to talk about the media, in particular, Black media moves, right? Right. I love to talk about what's happening in the world of Black media and Black creatives. And I read this morning that the Black News Channel is going to be laying off people right before Christmas. Why do businesses do that? Is it just like an end of the year thing where they're just trying to, like, as they go into the new fiscal year, they want to go in with a clean slate, or they want to get money off the books and take off of overhead? I'm not really sure, but right before Christmas, and I mean a few days before Christmas, people are getting fired. And you know what? This jogs a memory. I got fired or let go right before Christmas. Actually, I had forgotten about this, but that's what happened to me. And it's what you might think. You know what I'm saying? It's right before Christmas. I don't know. It's a mixed bag. It depends on your circumstances. And I'll say this again, like, nobody wants to get canned and you don't have income coming in, but it depends on how much income it is. And it's just my own story. I just wasn't getting paid enough from Radio 1 to really care that much about what they weren't paying me. I wasn't getting paid enough. So I didn't really miss the money. That wasn't keeping the lights on. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't making or breaking our household at all. So I didn't have that viewpoint where it's kind of like, oh my God, how am I going to pay the rent? I had already figured out other ways to do what I had to do. That was just something that was like maybe down the road, maybe I could cash in, but I wasn't getting paid like that. For people where it's like your money gets cut off, I can imagine, man, it's going to make Christmas a little bit tough. Like you smiling while the kids is opening Christmas gifts, but you already know who come January, you don't know where the money's coming in. I didn't have those feelings. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't in that situation. So I really can't speak to that. But I can imagine. I can imagine how that right before Christmas and you trying to, pull some things together for the kids in your life or your children or whatever, or your boo or whoever you buying gifts for. And then you didn't lost your job. You don't have this regular money you can depend on coming in. That's a tough break. That'll make a mofo feel like, bah humbug. That really wasn't my circumstance, though. That's probably why I forgot all about it. Speaking of the show, like and share. Good morning. Hey, thank you, Dee Dee. Thank you so much. David writes, hey, Nate, the media hasn't given much coverage to the Michigan looters who took advantage of the people of Kentucky impacted by the tornadoes. The Michigan, I'm not even hip to that. Send me a link. What am I missing? What? The Michigan looters? Huh? That sounds vaguely familiar, but send me a link. Maybe that speaks to your point about how some things get focused on and some things don't get focused on. So I don't know. TNT, well, that sucks. Oh, yeah, it does. Right before the holidays? Absolutely. Dee writes, I'm listening to you on my phone through my car's Bluetooth. See, that's what I'm talking about, Dee. And so that's the competition for terrestrial radio. It's just access. That's one of the reasons why radio was so, or continues to be so popular, because it's just easy. It's free, number one. And all you got to do is get in your car and hit the button. That's it. Or, you download an app, hit the button. That's it. So I'm not in commercial radio now, but I do know when I was there, the company I was working for had just put out an app, and they were really having us as on-air hosts really push access through the app. And I just don't remember the numbers. At some point I had it, it was something I had to know, but I can't remember if the numbers were bigger from the terrestrial signal or if it was from the app. I just don't remember, quite honestly. I don't remember. I know what we're doing now, but I don't remember that. Good morning to you. Good morning. So no, radio is not dying. I would change some things. Like when I listen to terrestrial radio and when I listen to terrestrial black radio, where I'm sitting right now, I would definitely change some things. If that was me, if I was in that position, that I think would better suit them for the age that we live in, but I don't. So I'll just do it myself for what I'm doing. But people be like, oh, well, radio is dying. Nah, it's not dying. It just has more competition. It's two different things. Good morning to you. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate you. Brenda writes, why are there so many house fires at the beginning of the year? Angela writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Victoria writes, look at you now, you and your former employer's competition. That's a boss move. Yeah, I mean, I guess in some way, I just never really looked at it like that, Sister V. I mean, the way I looked at it is I just figured people are just like me. And I'm the kind of person, I listen to a lot of different things. And because of podcasting, I can listen to when I want to. So is it a competition? I guess it is. Yeah, sure it is. But I just don't really look at it that way. It is what I wish everybody the best. Bring back the fairness doctrine in terrestrial radio. Not even sure the fairness doctrine. Okay. Yeah, the Republicans messed it up. They messed up radio when they did away with the fairness doctrine. If I remember correctly, the fairness doctrine is not the fairness doctrine. I don't think that's what we're talking about. The fairness doctrine is something different. But there used to be rules in place so that you didn't have ownership monopolies, where you had one or two companies that owned all of the radio stations. And, because when you have competition, it benefits the consumer because you got these companies competing for your attention. So they're going to innovate. They're going to innovate. When you're at the top of the mountain and nobody's close to you, you don't have to innovate. And that's part of the reason why you see the changes with our former radio station that I used to work for. Because what's the consequence? They change their format when they get ready to. Either you're gonna deal with it or don't deal with it. What you gonna do about it? Send a letter? People have done that. That don't work. So it's not really about getting other people to do anything. That's not what the game is. The game is, what are you gonna do? And I just made a decision I was gonna put my energy into trying to create something new. That's it. You can't control what somebody else does. All you can control is what you do. So we do our own thing and we control that. Simple as that. I wish everybody the best. I keep saying that. Brent writes, and there used to be rules when the same company couldn't own radio, television, and newspapers within the same media market, but that has greatly changed for the worse. Yeah, some of those rules are still in place, but they have been scaled back a bit. Yeah, but so I'm responding to a question from Sharp. He was asking about the future of black radio. When I look at black media, I think all of the best black media, this is just me, all of the best black media is digitally based. All of the most cutting edge media, period, is digitally based. You know what I'm saying? It's people like Roland Martin. It's people like Tariq Nasheed. It's folks like the Black News Channel and others. It's folks like us. You know what I'm saying? That's what the future of black radio is to me. Now, others might be like, oh no, I see something different. This is just my vantage point, what I see from my experience. And of course, I've done it all. I did public radio, had a great time. Commercial radio, had a great time. Digital media, having a great time. They're all different mediums. There's different approaches to those mediums, but there's a lot of similarities as well. Charles writes, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. So if you're worried about, if part of your question, let's talk about the buzz for a second. If part of your question is, could you ever see a scenario where you don't have like a locally, black talk radio station in Cincinnati? Oh, absolutely. For sure. Terrestrially based doesn't mean that you won't have digital shows like this or podcast networks like what we're doing. Oh, for sure. Because those decisions are made by people that don't necessarily live in those same communities. So they're making, broad strokes. They're taking broad strokes, with the decision making. That's them. Let me see. Not just Cincy, turn on the news. So many houses all over different states. Nakia writes, the game is dollars. Is that right? It's all about them dollars, huh? You could be right about that. It's all about the money, all about the Benjamins. I get it. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, everybody's upset with Joe Manchin because it looks like he's going to kill the BBB, the Build Back Better. That's Biden's big legislative idea. And from what I understand about it, there's some things in it that I agree with. And the progressives now are really upset. Let me see if I can put Joe Manchin, on the screen for you as we're talking about him. Bro, Joe Manchin looks like a great white shark to me. He looks like a great white shark. And maybe that's apropos. I don't know. Let me see if I can find an image of Joe Manchin. He's a senator from West Virginia, and everybody's upset with him right now. And I mean, hey, listen, he's in a position where he might just be as influential as the president. Matter of fact, Charlemagne the God, he has a show called The God's Honest Truth on the Comedy Central. I've never watched the show on Comedy Central, but I've seen a lot of clips of it on YouTube. It's called The God's Honest Truth. And he'll bring people on, and they range from people like Soulja Boy to VP Kamala Harris. He recently had Kamala Harris on the show, and they were talking about Joe Manchin. That's Joe Manchin right there. Doesn't like a great white shark? Looks like a great white shark. I know he does. If a great white shark was a man, he'd look just like that. Nice power blue suit. Joe Manchin is a senator from West Virginia. He's a Democrat, but he's very Republican leaning. And everybody's mad at him, or should I say a lot of Democrats are mad at him right now because they're saying that he didn't negotiate in good faith with Joe Biden. Joe Biden, senator for a long time, it seems like he's got this attitude that he can sit down and talk with people and work it out and be bipartisan. And maybe that's exactly what we need. But due to a lot of political reasons and maybe even, because of his donors, that man right there, he is against the voting rights legislation. He's against Build Back Better. And they need his vote in order to get it past the Senate. It's already passed the House, and it will not pass the U.S. Senate unless this man right here decides that he's going to go for it. That's it. And then I read this morning there were some emotions back and forth about feelings and things like that. So we'll have to wait and see. But Joe Manchin's name came up during an interview with Charlemagne the God and VP, that's Vice President of these United States, Kamala Harris. He asked her, who's the president, Joe Biden or Joe Manchin? Who is the president, Joe Biden or Joe Manchin? And Kamala Harris didn't like that. She was like, oh, wait, now hold on, ho. You ain't gonna talk about Massa like that. Now when I'm here. You ain't gonna talk about Zaddy like that. Charlemagne, you're wrong on that. And they went back and forth. They call it a tense moment, but it really wasn't that damn tense. That's what Charlemagne does. I get what he's saying. What he's saying is we need the president to act like the president. Show some stones. Like him or don't like him. And I didn't like him as president, but at least Trump, and again, maybe this is really a backhanded compliment, has some backbone, I was gonna say, but that man was so mentally ill that it was really hard to say whether he was standing up for the right things or standing up for his fragile ego. It's hard to really say. So bad example. I take that from the memory. I wipe that from the record. But that's Joe Manchin right there. The progressives are like, oh, we told you. This is what happens when you separate the infrastructure bill from the Build Back Better legislation. It should have all been the same, right? I've seen members of the squad all over the news talking about it. But, I say this to you because I want to educate the audiences. I'm not going to do you like some of these people do, some of these black media YouTubers do, where they'll just come on and say, Joe Biden don't care about black people. Joe Biden don't care. I'm going on a hunger strike. I'm only eating smoothies. I lost 5 pounds. Pity me, right? I'm lumping them all together. Yeah, I'm lumping them all together. Yeah, I'm still on one this morning. These charlatans. But I'm not going to do you like these people do on some of these YouTube channels where they'll come on and they'll just be belly aching about Joe Biden. Joe Biden, I told you, all you Negroes voted for him and y'all was wrong. He ain't did nothing for black folks. I'm not going to play y'all that ignorant. I'm not going to play you like you ignorant. I'm going to give you the facts. The facts is that the U.S. Senate is a numbers game. It's a numbers game. It's bigger than just Joe Biden. It's bigger than Joe Biden. It matters how many Democrat and Republican senators that you have. We are living in hyper-partisan times. Hyper-partisanship. This has never been more partisan than it is right now. I've never seen it this way. Never seen it this way before. And so under this climate, all the numbers matter. And the way that the current rules of the U.S. Senate is set up is that if they don't get at least 50 Democrats or 50 senators to agree to move forward, it ain't moving forward, period. And it don't matter what Joe Biden thinks. It doesn't matter what his heart is. He can love black people. Say it with me like Tom Cruise did in that movie. I love black people. Remember that movie with Cuba Gooding Jr.? It was a good movie, by the way. I love the black man. I mean, this could be what Joe Biden is saying to himself every single day. But unless Joe Manchin gets on board with it, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. So it's bigger than just one man. It's like a whole lot of folks that's got to jump on board. It's called the U.S. Senate before this legislation can hit the desk of the president. Like, I can see if this was sitting on Joe Biden's desk and he just wasn't going to sign it. Like, I scammed you black folks to vote for me, but I was really with the Confederacy. Like, that's not what's really happening. And I'm talking about people like Vicky Dillard. Yes, I'm talking about them. There's another dude. He's called like the Black News Channel or the Black something like that. I see people posting it. I've listened to the brother, and there's some times when he's on point. But when they start this googly gop about belly aching about Joe Biden, I ask myself, like, did they vote? Do they understand how this really votes? How this really works? No one man can pass anything, and I don't care who the president is. It's like when a Democrat gets in office, we have these unrealistic expectations that they could never live up to. Like, there was nothing that Obama could have ever have done that it would lived up to people's expectations. If he would have passed all the pro-black legislation that we could have conceived of, somebody would have said, but he didn't celebrate the 12 days of Kwanzaa. Where was he on that 11th day of Kwanzaa? He wasn't there for us, right? You know, there's nothing he could have done. When a Republican gets in office, we have no expectations so whatsoever. So when they do just a little bit of anything, people are like, oh, look at him. He gangster. I like his gangster. Huh? What? No, we're not going to do that here. We're going to deal with the facts. The facts. TNT writes, did you say the rare footage of the actual alt-middle fight between Fame and BR? It's in the Friends page. You got to see it. Them boys, wow, LOL. Really? Didn't see that. The alt-middle broke up over a woman. I keep saying that. I'm like, it's hard to believe, but yeah. I guess they weren't as tight as they act like they were, huh? Y'all let a woman broke y'all up? Y'all really wasn't that tight. Y'all were really not that tight. Let me bring him some local news here. We've been talking for about an hour, so we might as well talk about some local stuff. I mean, this is really happening. Like, here we are less than a month away from the new council and the new mayor. And I'll be honest with you, I am super optimistic. I read the last couple of days that Avtab Puraval, mayor-elect of the city of Cincinnati, has resigned as the clerk of courts. Don't know who's going to take that place. That'll be interesting. I know the Democrats will decide. I had heard some names. And I won't put it out there. We'll have to wait and see. But I did hear a few names that came up. He resigned as the clerk of courts. So Avtab Purevald is getting ready to take over from John Cranley. And, once again, I'm expecting big things. I'm much more optimistic as we go into the first term of Avtab Purevald than I was John Cranley. I know John Cranley, he's always nice to me. Every time I see him, he's always friendly. I like you too, personally, John. Professionally, I don't know what you did. I think anybody could have did that job. Talk about scandal. And then you have all of these whisperers out there that John Cranley was working with the FBI. That's still out there. I mean, in some circles, that's just what it is. People believe that John Cranley was working with the FBI. But this was interesting. In his resignation letter, Avtab Puraval wrote this, quote, it's my hope that retired Judge Fanon Rucker will serve as interim clerk of courts until the Hamilton County Democratic Party's Central Committee appointment process is complete. So are we going to see retired Judge Fanon Rucker serve in the interim? Is that what's happening? Quite interesting. I know that he is in private practice right now, but could he be appointed to be the next clerk of courts? Could be. Speaking of moves, I'm reading that Christy Coons is now the interim, so we're speaking of interims, that she's now the interim CEO over at the Urban League of Southwest Ohio. Do you hear about this? Yeah. Yeah, the brother left. Yes. Eddie Cohen is out. And I don't have the inside track on it. I don't think that, as I sit here right now, I haven't heard anything other than he's leaving because this is what he does. He's leaving because that's what he wants to do. But I thought that he brought a lot of visibility to the Urban League. I don't know the any workings of the Urban League. I can't say I know exactly what they do and can say and pinpoint it, but I do know in general that they seem to be, in that lane of positive change. right here in the Southwestern Ohio area. I know Eddie Cohen was up front. He was very, very visible. And don't have a lot of black CEOs of these nonprofits around here. We do not have a lot of black CEOs of. Are there any black CEOs left? I mean, now Christy Coons is coming in, but when you think about some of these nonprofit organizations in the greater Cincinnati area, how many of them are black led? And you know what'll happen is you'll have circumstances where the mission statement, the work that these nonprofits do, primarily your audience is going to be black people. That's who they serving. Those are constituents. But then the leadership looks like, the mountains. The higher you get, the whiter it gets. Why is that? Why is that? I'm just wondering, are there any local nonprofit organizations that are run by black folks where the CEO is black? I mean, Eddie Cohen, and other than that, I can't think of anybody. Y'all hip to this? When I read that Christy Coons was taking over, I thought, okay, I can see that. I can see her doing good work over there. I could definitely see that. Y'all hip to that? You got all these big time nonprofits, and primarily the people they serve are going to be black folks. But if you look at the leadership, the higher you go up, the more it looks like the mountains. What happens when you go to the mountains? The higher you go to what? Exactly. How is that? Why is that? Now, we did have a brother that was over the what was he over? He was over the it wasn't the Urban League. Nah, it was the other one. United Way. The brother, his name was Michael something. Jared writes, you got Laura Mitchell at Beach Acres, right? You got Laura Mitchell at Beach Acres. You got Laura Mitchell at Beach Acres. Angela writes United Way, right? That brother was at United Way, but he's not there anymore. They've got Moira, I think her name. She used to be down at JSF. Now she's a CEO over there, and you got Christy Coons now as the interim, not even like permanent, but right now she's the interim. And just knowing Christy a little bit and kind of seeing her work, I think she'll do an excellent job over there. I think she'll be excellent. But as we see here right now, so you got Laura Mitchell at Beach Acres, you got Christy Coons, who is the interim at the United Way, and that's it that I can think of. I can't think of anybody else. You got Sister Iris writes, the African American Chamber of Commerce, Eric Kearney is the president. Okay. But I mean, that's the African American Chamber, right? Of course, they better have somebody black over there, African American. So we got 3. Where else? And is that a problem? Is that a problem? I don't know. Brent writes, even though an organization may be classified as nonprofit, the majority of them make 6 figures. And there are still folks who believe that black people can't manage people or money. Myra Weir. Yeah, Myra Weir. Or Moira Weir. Yeah, she's been over there for a couple of years now. She left JFS or something like that. She's relatively new. So that's it. So Eddie Cohen's out. And what about black men? You know what I'm saying? What about black men? Why don't we have any black men that lead any of these nonprofit or these big time nonprofit organizations? I see the black females. So you got Laura Mitchell, Beach Acres, and damn, is she quiet? I haven't heard shit from Beach Acres. I guess she was like, don't call me. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't email me. God, y'all drove me crazy. I can only imagine the kind of traffic and the kind of things that Laura Mitchell had to deal with. I can only imagine. So I'm over here right now. I see Laura Mitchell's a CEO. That's good. That's it. Sometimes it's fun to go to some of these nonprofits and then just look at the leadership. Just go look at the leadership and see who's who and what's what. Quite interesting. Yeah, I see Laura Mitchell. She's over here. I bet she is so happy that nobody's calling her about nothing that's happening in the schools. She ain't got to worry about no state testing. She ain't got people doing shows talking about her and talking about this and worried about this. She ain't got to worry about COVID. Woo! I bet she is happy about that. Nat writes, I remember how they did the black CEO of United Way. The white subordinates formed like Voltron. They sure did. What was it? The white women mafia is what it was called? Yeah, white female board members. They formed Voltron. It's just amazing. Like, black leadership and white leadership does not get treated the same at all. At all. Black folks, the same thing is true with leadership. You know what I'm saying? In some of these nonprofits and some of these businesses, you got to work harder, you got to dance around more, and you got to do things that your white counterparts don't have to deal with. It's just what it is. And I remember that brother came here, everybody's like, oh, wow, this is great, diversity. And he was gone just like that. The only problem I had with that brother is he made the mistake that a lot of people did, is that he didn't give black media the exclusive. He should have gave us the exclusive. He should have came on talk with us exclusively first and then talk with everybody else, right? Because here you are complaining about how you're getting treated differently as a black man, but then you ran to legacy media first and gave them your story. You should have came here first. Come to us first, then go to other folks, right? I'm just saying. Come to us first, give us the story first, then go to other folks. That's how you help your local black media. That's how you do it. Hey, what's up, Celeste? Good to see you. She writes, most are not. They hire black staff. The leadership is disconnected, which makes the organizations not successful. I mean, it all depends on the mentality of the leadership, white or black, quite honestly. Like, you could have somebody that's black in charge and they are just not connected with the community. You can have somebody white in charge and they are connected with the community. But I would say that generally speaking, diversity matters, and it matters a great, 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 great deal to me. This is just what I have seen, throughout my many years living in this city. But when I read that Eddie Cohen was leaving, I'll be honest with you, man, I never got a chance to talk with Eddie Cohen. That's on my fault. I should have put more of an effort in to reach out to that brother just to bring him on. Not that I'm gonna tell you something you don't know, but that's just what I want to do. That's the lane I'm in, and I do have regrets now that he's leaving. From afar, I liked the fact that we had black male leadership from afar. You know what I'm saying? I don't know Eddie. I did not know him like that. Never spoke with him. Maybe in passing here or there, but I like the image. Right? I thought the image was positive of having a black male that was leading, a nonprofit organization which had so much visibility. All right, I thought that was good, right, for the culture. All right, not to say that Christy won't do a good job, because I think very highly of Christy Combs. I think she'll do a very good job. I think she'll do a good job. I think she'll innovate, and we might see some things coming from the Urban League that we never seen before. I would not be surprised to see it. I think she's committed to us 100%. But as a black man, hearing about Eddie Cohen leave, and I ain't happy about it. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't have a lot of those images of black men at the CEO level in the city of Cincinnati. Now, of course, we got some, there's some nonprofits around here. We got some brothers that is doing their thing, like the brothers over at Mortar. I like that image. I love when I see them doing interviews. I love to see them shine. I love to see that positivity. So, that's a nonprofit that's definitely got some visibility. But I'm talking about like some of these legacy nonprofit organizations that's been around for a while that still have a very important role to play in the greater Cincinnati area. So we'll have to wait and see. We shall see. Why is it so difficult for black men to become CEOs here locally? I don't know. Well, we probably know. We probably know. Pamela writes, they will appoint blacks on the board of directors, but not actually run the organizations. Let me see. Oh, okay. You're right about that. Yeah. Shower Fisher Jackson, the preschool promise. You're right. She is over there, preschool promise. I forgot about her. Okay. Okay. So we're piecing together. We do have something to build upon. I appreciate that, Celeste. Right. Charles writes, usually the white subordinates fear the black male CEO. Fear? Fear. Um, I worked for a school once as a partner. In that school, when I was hired, there was a black principal there. The only reason why I got the job was because of him. Because the organization I ended up working for, they didn't want to hire me. This black man, said, no, I want a black man. That's what he said. He said, I want a black man in this position. It was a director position for before and after school. I never would have got the job. They would have gave it to somebody else. And so he kind of took me under his wing and kind of showed me the ropes in that world. And what I will tell you is I felt like there were a lot of the white female teachers that took him the wrong way because he was black. In the sense that I don't think that they were consciously racist, but I think subconsciously having a black man in leadership with his style, because he had a very aggressive style, he had a very confrontational, in your face style, very um like by far the most confrontational supervisor I ever had. And I mean, like, would confront you in front of everybody at any point, at any time, that kind of man. Which, when you do your job, you don't have to worry about those kind of things. So it made no difference to me. But that kind of style didn't go over well. And from what I understand, they eventually raised their voices and, he was removed. And the people who came in afterward were non-black, and they were not on par with him at all. And they seemed to be it seemed that they were taken more easily, right? They were more easily digestible. So I think it's all about your style and knowing who your audience is and knowing the environment and knowing the culture, right? Even though you're the boss, don't mean you can go in there like a bull in a china shop, right? You gonna realize that everybody got a boss. And so maybe that's what it is, Charles. Maybe it's, and I was just talking about this with somebody, and I hate to go here, but I'm gonna go here anywhere because it needs to be said. But you know, if the roles were for instance, black people every single day of our lives have been conditioned to walk into this world and find success no matter what the circumstances. So for instance, it's nothing for a black person to be the only black person on a staff and to have to learn how to navigate and learn how to be successful in that environment no matter what. If you flip that and put some of our, non-melanated brothers and sisters in that same situation, they would fold like lawn chairs. They could not handle it. They could not handle being in an environment where black folks was running things. They couldn't handle it. Even if there was no negativity coming toward them whatsoever, they just could not handle that. And the things that black folks have learned as black professionals have learned how to manage and learn how to do, again, our brothers and sisters, our non-melanated brothers and sisters, they could not handle it. They would fold, they would quit, they would do whatever they have to do to not have to walk into an environment where somebody melanated was telling them what to do and holding them accountable. They couldn't handle it. Some could, some could not. Black folks, we've learned to deal with this. This is just going to work for us. This is what you got to do. And tell me I'm wrong. Y'all doing it right now. Ron P. writes, good morning, fam. Good morning to you. Charles writes, that's why it's in quotes, because the fear is misplaced. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. That's what's so funny, man. Like, we know there's a fear of us from our non-melanated brothers and sisters. And I put it that way because we all from the human race. That's what we got to remember here. But it's completely unjustified. Black people just want to live the American dream. They want to get a house if that's what they want to get. They want to get a car. They want to buy clothes for Christmas and presents. They want to eat what they want to eat and drink what they want to drink. And they want to go to the football game. They just want to be left the hell alone. That's all they want. Black folks just want to be left the hell alone and kind of figure out this thing called life without somebody over their shoulder or talking ish or whatever the hell you got to deal with on a daily basis. That's it. We's harmless. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
What's going on, Nate? How you doing, man? Good morning.
I'm doing great. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Can you hear me good? Because I want to make sure.
I can hear you good, yeah.
Oh, okay. Nate, I think it's about time, and I didn't want to break your topic, but I had to get this out because you were talking about black media, and something happened within the last couple of weeks that really wasn't talked about, and even more was exposed this past week. But Nate, I think it's about time that we go ahead and add Kanye West, as much as this hurts me, because, you know, I was a Kanye West fan. But I think it's time that we add old Kanye to the list with R. Kelly. Add him to the list with Bill Cosby. He's on the no fly zone, no play zone list as of now. Have you heard the latest about old Kanye, Nate?
I have, but something tells me I have something else in mind. So what am I missing? What's on your mind?
Well, if you remember, probably about 3 weeks ago, I had mentioned the name of Ruby Freeman, the black woman down in Georgia, her and her daughter, who were the election workers, and right-wing media, and Donald Trump played a video of her and her daughter putting ballots into the voting machine, and they said it was some, this big, huge conspiracy. Well, now she's suing the Trump organization, Fox News, just like Nick Sandman of Covington Catholic. Because if you remember, that Georgia vote, it was thoroughly investigated. It was recounted, I believe, 3 times. Well, they've been exonerated. Well, like I said, Donald Trump and Fox News and Hannity and Laura Ingraham and all them, they played these 2 women, putting a ballot into the voting machine like they're supposed to do, but they made it into a big conspiracy. They end up getting death threats. I've listened to interviews with the mom not interviews, but 911 calls of the mom, just like you and our mom, Nate, or could be our aunties or somebody. And she's calling the police like they're at my door. She's trying to whisper, and now they're knocking on my door and stuff like this. The daughter had to change her hair color. They had to get another ad. They had to move. The FBI warned them that, there could be possible threats. But this is where we get to old Kanye. Have you heard of the name, I think it's Trevion Cootie? Have you heard of that name?
Trevion Coochie?
Cootie.
Oh, what you say?
Kutti. Cuddy or Cootie.
No.
Well, she's the publicist for Kanye West.
Okay.
Well, she decided to take her ass, as a black woman, take her ass down to Georgia, and thankfully the interview that she did or whatever she was trying to do I know what she was trying to do with the Freeman, with Mrs. Freeman. They were at the police station. Well, she's telling Mrs. Freeman, you need to go ahead and admit that you were part of some voter fraud. Yes, they got it on tape, thankfully. Trying to intimidate this woman to agree that she was part of some mass voter fraud down in Georgia, and Kanye sent her down there. Then she throws out there, Nate, well, if you don't admit to this, there could be certain things or, certain pressures that can happen within the next 48 to 72 hours. Oh, yeah, Nate. Her name is, like I said, Trevion Cootie, or whatever the hell you want to call her. But then the news comes out the following week. Remember Kanye's campaign to run for president, Nate? Remember when he was, he's going to be the new black voice out there and get the Gucci Gang platinum plan going on? Him and Ice Cube. Well, this was free Ice Cube. Well, apparently, Kanye West's whole campaign was funded by the Republican Party, Nate. And now he might be in trouble because they're saying that he might have broken federal election laws by trying to hide who was funding his campaign for president. And they did it in a cynical way because they just thought, hey, it's Kanye. Maybe if he can cipher off, that 5 to 8% of those, black Nat Gilligans always talk about all the time, maybe that's enough to get Donald Trump the president. But that's how cynical they were. Just like they were cynical enough to throw out the platinum plan, which I, like to call the Gucci Gang plan. So was that what you're going to say about him being funded or about his assistant, or did you have something else?
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about, is that the news came out, and we kind of knew this already, that he was being funded. His whole presidential campaign, his legal advice and other services was funded by Republican operatives because they wanted to siphon off votes from Joe Biden and help and help Trump win. So that came out. I was planning on talking about it today. So great minds think alike. Yeah, absolutely. Ye needs to be
And then,
exposed for that. He does need to be exposed.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, what happened to the Freemans, man? I mean, they made them like public enemy number one. Two black women, of course. And when the president is at a rally, and they showed it on the jumbotron, and of course he's doing his big league cheating, and this is un-American, and look at these leftists, and all that crap. They got him on a big old jump, and again, they're getting death threats, all type of stuff jumping off. And this lady was retired, Nate. She made like jewelry and had her own little boutique. Just wanted to help her daughter out at the BOE. Nothing more than that, Nate. Then you got Kanye West sending, his assistant down there. Again, brother, what sets you claiming? This is more than just being bipolar. This took some thought. When you think about it, a lot of guts, because what happens is, I don't know, it gets taped. And they can actually see you trying to intimidate this poor woman and her daughter to admit to something that they didn't do. Let me end with this, Nate. I want to thank you for what you said about Joe Manchin. And it's not dead. And I'm glad that heat is being put on his ass. Have you heard the anonymous quotes? Well, actually, they've been confirmed that Joe Manchin said about his own people of West Virginia. Now they up in arms. Have you heard about that?
Yeah,
about how they might take the child tax credit and go hunting. No, they take the child tax credit to buy drugs, and then if you do the Family Leave Act, guys might leave to go hunting. Right. So this is what he thinks about his own people.
Right, which is not much.
Right, not much at all. And thankfully, we're getting to see interviews from people that are in West Virginia. And Nate, I actually saw a woman yesterday that admitted, I want to say it was Rachel Maddow. It might have been Chris Hayes. But anyway, she said, I'm a Republican. Well, she was like, listen, that $300 child tax credit, she went into like, oh, my car engine blew up. Expenses have gone up. I'm losing hours. But she was like, that little $300, that was helping me. And she was like, I don't know what. Yeah. And then, of course, Nate, I do my little research, find out West Virginia is like the third, fourth state in America. Yeah. They're the least healthy, the least educated. And we're not talking about, where a bunch of black people live either.
Yeah.
And I got to say that.
It's white on white crime, quite honestly, but don't ever call it that. I mean, what Joe Manchin is doing to West Virginia is white on white crime.
And I got to say it, Nate, he does have that taint of that C word on his name. Conservative Joe Manchin. Hopefully he's the last, because I say this, I think Kristen Sinema is just nothing but a bought off fake. She's a little Becky, thinks she got some little hips and wants to dress like, she, shopped at Forever 21 all the time for a grown-ass woman. And, she's in real trouble out in Arizona. But, I read up on Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin actually, Donald Trump, I think he won state of West Virginia by like 71 points or something like that. The guy that was running against Joe Manchin in one of his counties, Tim Miller, he's a former Republican. He writes for the Bulwark. He has a great interview about Joe Manchin and why, we didn't see Joe Manchin coming or how you're going to talk to Joe Manchin. But he mentions that this particular county that he went to, he said Joe Manchin actually lost to his opponent by 10 points. But everybody else in the state of West Virginia who Democrat run against a Republican lost by like 60 to 70 points. So they're like, well, what is it about Joe Manchin in this particular county that makes him only lose by 10 and still get the vote? Because he only won West Virginia by 3 points. A lot of people don't know that. But yeah, so he's talking to this white guy, and he's like, and Tim Miller says, yeah, he noticed me, seeing me on TV. He noticed that I was a never Trumper. Again, Tim Miller's a Republican. He says they noticed that I was a never Trumper, so the guy automatically wanted to come up and talk to him. So he says, well, what is it about Joe Manchin? What is it, that he can win and still be in a state where Trump won by 71 points or something like that? And he goes, well, Joe Manchin, he talks like us. And he does just enough to let us know that he's not on the full lefty side. And if he decides to vote for Build Back Better, that's the final straw, because he's gone full lefty, full woke, full Saul Alinsky, all that crap that you hear on Fox News. So basically, they're trying to, I don't want to give him that Cranley tag. But, he's doing what you would expect a West Virginia senator to do. And apparently there's this billionaire down in West Virginia that they're trying to get desperately to run against Joe Manchin. And they think that he might be able to beat him, but they're saying that either Joe Manchin is either going to lose or he's going to become a Republican. But they said that the chances of him becoming a Republican are slight or slim to none. So, but I wanted to thank you for saying that, not only is it just not Joe Biden and just, commanding, because that's that Donald Trump, mindset that he just did anything he wanted to when actually he really didn't. But Nate, let me ask you this question. Joe Biden was able to convince 49 out of the 50 senators to vote for this Build Back Better bill. Explain to me, Nate, why we can't get 2 out of 50 on the Republican side. Just 2 out of 50. Don't you think they care about voting?
That's Drop's party.
I mean, really, you would think that Republicans live in senators of states that could use a tax credit. They can use paid family leave. They could, you know what I mean?
We know the reason, Glenn. Hyperpartisan shit. It doesn't matter what it'll do. They just don't want to give Joe Biden any legislative wins, especially not before the midterm elections. Because if he has a legislative win, he can use that to run on. See, I told you, I can do this. I can do better, right?
Right.
That's why it's hyper-party. It's not about what's best for the country. It's about what's best for the party.
Right. But Nate, isn't that quintessentially cutting off your nose to spite your fate if you're a white Republican voter in some of these states?
Of course it is. I mean,
they don't see it that way. Put it to you this. Right. I know. And Nate, if there's anybody on a plantation or has a plantation mentality, wouldn't that be it? You actually would vote against things that you know you need, but because you've been convinced by party leaders that, I don't know, that guy that looks like Glenn and Nate, he might get it. Jose might get it.
It's some of that, but then some of these people, man, when you gave us the demographics and some of the numbers around West Virginia, who knows how it's being served up to them? It's probably being served up like, oh, it's going to increase inflation. It's going to make things worse for you. It's going to increase our debt. That's going to make things more expensive for you. So no. And people get caught up in that kind of stuff. They start to believe that, whether it's true or not.
Isn't it funny how we all fiscally conservative again now, Nate?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
we clutching the purses and the wallets now. We didn't do jack for 4 years.
Predictable. When Trump was in office, there was no talk about the debt ceiling, the debt whatever, no debt crisis, nothing. As soon as the Democrat gets in office, the Republicans pivot, and now they're back on their same old playbook. It's all about the debt. We can't afford it because of the debt. What about the debt? So it's predictable.
Now, I thought that my prediction that Donald Trump would either be convicted or indicted. I only got 2 more weeks left, and he won't be convicted. There's a chance that he will definitely be charged, because the latest thing now is that they're looking at possible criminal charges. And Liz Cheney pointed this out about a week ago when they formally decided to charge Mark Meadows with contempt of court. But now, just yesterday, they're they're sending a subpoena. I can't say subpoenaing. They're sending a subpoena to an actual member of Congress, Congressman Perry, because apparently he's one of the insiders. Because in the very beginning, they said that they saw members of Congress actually giving the Proud Boys and some of these insurrectionists tours before January 6th. So all this stuff is coming out. So there's a very good chance. I don't know. It'll be before 2022 Christmas, but it will be indicted and or convicted, and I'll be here to watch it. Nate, I appreciate you taking my call, man. I don't want to ramble, but petty peace, and you have a good one, brother.
You too, brother. Appreciate the call.
All right.
Appreciate you. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. That's my Christmas voice. People said I don't. All right, let me take a quick break. We'll come right back. All right, good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a great holiday. As we round out the calendar year 2021, let's get back to it. If you'd like to call into the show, you can do so. Here's my number, 513-873-7134. Now, that's a magical code. It's a heavy burden I'm giving you. If you want to call into the show, we've only got one rule. One rule. Open your mind before you open your mouth. That's it. Other than that, it's all good. It's all good. You can call in at 513-873-7134. We do have a call on the line. Let's see who it is. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivey, and all the choppers in the chop shop, especially that last caller, Glenn from Mason, also known as the chop shop overseer. And that last call that you just listened to was the voice of a Negro whisperer. How you doing, Nate?
I'm doing well. Doing well. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, sir. I've been listening to your show for about the last hour or so. And I'm doing some things, and I hear Glenn from Mason calling in. I could hear the distress and the pain and the suffering in his voice. Was that suffering and pain because they ran out of chicken at Popeyes, or he couldn't find his lighter to light up his new post? What was it, Glenn? Why you so upset, my brother? Oh, is it because headline, Boston Herald, Biden's poll numbers sink as he's set to address the nation today. Headline, U.S. News and World Report, Biden's approval hits historic low, poll says. Headline, CNN, Biden's economic ratings are worse than Jimmy Carter. Mr. Ivey, Glenn, I know you listening. I want you to keep this same energy that you have when you talk about Trump, when you talk about January 6th and that sham-ass political circus they call the January 6th committee. It's all bullshit.
Huh?
They trying to take down the man who they see as their number one opponent in 2024. Yes, Mr. Ivey, the Democrat Party and the mainstream media, their willing accomplices, are convinced that Donald Trump will be the nominee for the Republican Party in 2024.
Oh, that'd be terrible.
They are convinced, Mr. Ivey.
That'd be great. That'd be great. That'd be great. For
And guess who else? Guess who else is convinced that Trump will be running in 2024? Take a guess, because she's back.
His mother, Trump's mama?
And you know who else? Oh, see, why you got to talk about people's mama, Nate?
You asked me a question.
And by the way,
I thought his mother thought he was going to run. Who else? Nobody wants to see him run except Trump and his own ego and maybe his mother, if she's still alive. That's it.
But see, Mr. Ivey, you know what's going on, okay? You keep it real, but you are the host of the Nathan Ivey Show, okay? Which is fair and biased. Mm-hmm. But Mr. Ivey, Crooked Hillary is back. She did an interview on Crooked Hillary is back. She did an interview on Sunday morning on NBC with Willie Geist. And she follow me on Twitter. I know you check me out every now and then. It's all on my timeline. But she claims that she is the only one that could possibly beat Trump in 2024.
Oh, my God. Please, no. No.
I'm telling you, Mr. Ivey, look at that interview. Look for that interview. It's on my timeline. I could drop it in your own. I could drop it in your Twitter message after I get off the phone, and you could play the audio.
Did she really say that she's thinking about running?
Mr. Ivey, you know how politicians speak, and you know I have an ear for political speech.
So she didn't.
Now, I'm telling you, if you listen to her and her political speak, and the way the interviewer, Willie Geist, a liberal, also a co-host on Morning Joe, if you listen how he framed the question, you will understand, Mr. Ivey, that she is saying things to set up fundraising. And because you know how it works, Mr. Ivey, they got to have money to run for president. Okay? So that's why nobody's talking about Kamala, because she can't raise money. But anyway, Hillary Clinton is already throwing her hat out there that she could possibly be the only one that could be who they think is going to be the Republican nominee in 2024. So get ready for the rematch in 2024, which should have happened in 2020. She should have ran for the rematch in 2020. But again, that's a whole nother political conversation. And maybe Glenn, the chop shop overseer, Negro whisperer, can explain to us why Hillary Clinton is running around here raising money for a possible run in 2024. Now, before I go, Mr. Ivey, the president is supposed to address the nation today about the Omicron variant. Now, again, his press secretary said yesterday that this is not going to be about any lockdowns or any type of restrictions on businesses. So what else could it be, Mr. Ivey, other than the same old bullshit we've been listening to since he became president?
What?
Yes, Joe Biden was the one that says, I'm not going to lock down. I'm going to lock down the virus. I'm not going to shut down. I'm going to shut down the virus. This president has blood on his hands.
What?
There are over 800,000 Americans that have died of COVID-19.
What?
Almost 500,000 of the Americans have died in 2021 on Joe Biden's watch.
Oh,
More than died in 2020 under Trump's watch without a vaccine,
I'm shocked,
which is a bunch of bullshit.
Your arrogance. You got some gall.
Ooh.
You got some
Ooh,
nerve,
you better,
sir, to call in here
yes.
talking like that, and you ain't said a damn thing about the news about Trump. Because I know you're aware of it.
Trump's not president.
I know, but when he was president, information has come out within the last few days, I'm sure you're aware of it, that the Trump administration deliberately tanked their COVID response for political reasons. They deliberately
That's old news. That is old news. Mr. Ivey.
This is
Are
new
you
news.
serious?
This is new news.
Are you serious?
This is new news with new information about an old situation. And I'm
this is
amazed
old
that you
news.
had the nerve to call in here trying to lay this at the doorstep of Joe Biden when you know damn well that Donald Trump was a damn buffoon who deliberately tanked the country's response to COVID because it didn't fit his political narrative. That's what started all of this.
Mr. Ivey, are you serious? Are you saying
if Joe Biden had been president when Donald Trump was president, COVID never would have taken over the way that it has? You can try to deflect with your fake laughter all you want to, sir, but those are the facts.
No,
and a little
Mr. Ivey, the facts are the facts. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you're trying to get people to believe that what you just said is some type of breaking news that's going to hurt a man that hasn't been in the White House for almost a year, that hasn't even filed papers to run for president. He is a private citizen. He is not on social media, but he is doing the tour with Bill O'Reilly. Mr. Ivey, see, again, sir.
If we're going to be
fair
about
sir,
this, brother,
you keep talking. Keep talking about Trump.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
No, you brought it up. You brought up the COVID.
You brought up Trump. I didn't want to talk about Trump. I'm talking about my president.
Sir,
you brought up Trump. Keep talking about it.
Conversation about this country's COVID response, period. We cannot talk about where we are now if we don't analyze how we get started. And this started under the Trump administration, and now there's credible information that he and his administration deliberately undermined the COVID response so it would fit, because it didn't fit the political narrative that they wanted at the time. They deliberately put people's lives in jeopardy to score political points before the election. That's got to be a part of this, sir. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so Mr. Ivey, what's going on now, this is a rhetorical question, okay? What's going on right now with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine? what's going on with the Moderna vaccine? What's going on with the rapid testing that's going on across all of professional sports, where all of it, mostly 90-some% of their players are vaccinated and boosted, and now there's an outbreak. And the irony of this whole COVID response with vaccines under Joe Biden and Dr. Fauci is a bunch of BS. You cannot say that what happened in the first year of COVID-19 is worse than what's going on right now when we have all of these alternative treatments for COVID-19, and the president doesn't talk about it. All he talks about is vaccines.
See what you
and
just
look
did?
What's happening with vaccines,
See
Mr.
what you
Ivey.
just did? You just changed the conversation.
How can you
to
not
benefit
talk
and
about what's going
you
on with
just
these
changed
vaccines,
the
Mr. Ivey?
conversation to fit your own narrative.
You brought up Trump.
It's
You
not
brought up
about-
Trump, so I
sir,
got to bring up Biden.
Sir, it's not about
Yes.
whether what happened in the first year is worse than what's happening now. That's not the conversation. The conversation is, how did we get here? How do we prevent ourselves
China
from ever being in
China,
this
the Wu
situation
flu,
again?
the
And if
Kung
we're gonna
flu.
do
That's
that,
how we got
and
here.
if we're going to do that in a way that makes any real sense, we got to start at the very beginning and analyze from the beginning all the way through. And at the beginning,
Well, let's go to
when the
China.
guy that you
Let's go
voted
to
for
China.
twice, Donald Trump, was in
Yes.
the White House. There are credible
Yes.
reports coming out right now that say that he deliberately tried to undermine our country's COVID relief response because it didn't fit his political narrative. That's part of the reason why
Okay.
so many people got sick. That's part of the
Mr.
reason why
Ivey.
there was so much confusion.
I can't believe
That's
you.
part of the reason why so many people died, because the guy that you voted for twice was in the White House.
Oh my
And that's
God.
got to be a part of this, sir.
Okay.
I know it's uncomfortable.
Okay.
I know it doesn't fit the black, not Democrat narrative.
I'm not uncomfortable.
I know
You
I know,
uncomfortable.
I know, bro. I know, bro.
You
But we gotta
uncomfortable.
rise above all of that and be able to look at stuff objectively and see things.
Oh,
for
now
what
you're
they
gonna
really are.
patronize me now, huh?
And that's what
Oh,
really
Poe
happened,
Drop.
brother.
Poe
That's what
Drop don't
happened.
know what's going. Oh, Poe Drop.
I'm
Oh,
not gonna
Poe
say all
Drop.
of that,
You
but
sure?
I don't know if that's true or not. But I'm just here as your big brother. Even though you're older than me, I'm your big brother. I'm here as a big brother to put an arm around you to make
Hey.
sure that you know what the truth is. Period.
Mr. Ivey. Hey, first of all, like I said, Glenn needs to wait until I call. If I don't call your show, he needs not to call. Because if he calls like he did this morning, his energy was low. He had no excitement. He was talking about shit that half the people have no freaking clue what the hell he was talking about. So Glenn from Mason, the Politically Petty podcast show host, get another episode up or contact me on Twitter and we could do a simulcast because, bro, you ain't it without Drop Squad 52. And that's all I got because guess what, Mr. Ivey? Guess what, Mr. Ivey? It's Tuesday. I ain't got no job. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Appreciate the call. Tap man. Appreciate the call. So I just posted a link. Trump White House made deliberate efforts to undermine COVID response, a report says. Why is this useful? It's useful, as I just told my brother right there, my little bro Drop. He's older than me, but he acts like the little brother. So I'm going to assume the big brother role in our relationship. If we're going to make sure that in the future we're ready for the next pandemic, then we need to analyze our country's response from the very beginning all the way to what we're doing now. Every response, every reaction, every action that was taken is open for review, from Trump to Joe Biden. And if we're still dealing with this when somebody else gets in the White House, then we should analyze the way that they responded as well. And this is new. This is not old like he wants to. See how these Republicans do? When they get caught doing something, oh, that's old news. This report was prepared by the House Select Subcommittee that's investigating the nation's COVID response. I think that the House should have a select subcommittee to investigate the nation's response. And I wouldn't care who was in the White House. Barack Obama could be in the White House. We should review everything that we do to see if we can do it better, period. And what they found is the White House repeatedly overruled public health and testing guidance by the nation's top infectious disease experts. They also silenced officials in order to promote President Donald Trump's political agenda. He didn't care about people dying. He didn't care about people getting sick. He cared about his efforts to get reelected. And you know what's so funny about it? Even though he brought the carnival to town, even though he brought the circus to town with his administration, if Donald Trump had brought a more mature and serious approach to COVID, he would have been reelected. No doubt about it. His response was so crazy that it led for him to lose the election to Joe Biden, even though Joe Biden wasn't all that super popular. I mean, just think about it. In a losing effort, Donald Trump got more votes than anyone who's ever lost the presidency, right? All-time charts. If he would have acted like he had some damn sense with COVID, people would have kept him in office for 4 more years, which I don't even know which is the bigger situation here, right? Which the bigger tragedy? I don't really know. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
What's up, Nate?
What up, Daryl?
Daryl from Atlanta. What's going on, man?
What's
Hey,
up,
I
Daryl?
just shot you that article. Yeah, I just shot you that article when you get some time, if you could take a look at it, because I kind of read some of that yesterday.
Right.
About Manchin and those coal unions and the provisions in the Build Back Better plan is subsidies to continue funding for Black lung disease
Right.
with the West Virginia coal miners.
Right.
So I just want to see how that pressure plays out, because we know that's a big, even though I think he's tied to the coal barons. I just want to see how that plays out with the unions, because they said, from what I gathered from the article, originally they were kind of lukewarm on the idea, and then I think see the bill is 2,000 pages, and there's so much in there that most people, they're not going to know. There's a lot in there that's good, but that's one of the things that I think they discovered. Like, oh, snap, we getting this, and I don't even know if Manchin even knows that. I mean, he showed where he was coming from. He was negotiating in bad faith, because when he came out, he could have did all that, and he could have went on any other network but Fox. He went on Fox, so he was making a statement right there. So forget Manchin. I'd like to get the drop. Did you notice that drop didn't bring up how Trump sued Tish James, and Tish James was like, "Yeah, bring it on, bruh. I'm here for you, and I got receipts." So, drop, you never bring up Tish James and how she's going after Trump. I wonder why. Maybe that's something you should delve into, while you want to look up all these poll numbers and the average of polls of Real Clear Politics. Why don't you bring up what's going on in New York with the New York AG and Tish James, and how she gonna get Trump's ass? That's all I got to say, Nate. Take care, bro.
That's all I need. Appreciate the call. Yeah, I have been reading about that. She's the AG up there, and she's going after Trump's pockets. And so now Trump, and again, if you know anything about Trump's history, he's very litigious. I guess that's the right way of putting it. Like, he's a creature of the courts. Like, it's nothing for him to get a bunch of lawyers and file lawsuits and all kinds of stuff. He's been doing that before he became the president. That's nothing for him. but he's suing Letitia James in a bid to stop inquiry into his business. As I said, Letitia James is trying to get to the bottom. She's trying to get to the bag. Like, where's the money? And she's probing his business interests to see if there's anything criminal. She's doing a deep dive into that. So we'll see what happens. I don't put much stock on him going to jail ever. All right, before we roll out of here, you got me until 9:30. I want to bring this up. I want to talk about former officer Kim Potter, because this is a story that we started talking about. Here's Kim Potter right here, breaking down on the witness stand. She is so sorry. Former Brooklyn Center police officer Kim Potter. She took questions from the prosecution this past week. She is on trial for the death of a man named Dante Wright, a young black man. And she was actually training an officer, and the officer pulled over Dante Wright for two reasons. Number one, because he had air fresheners in his car. And I think number two, he has something going on with his papers. Like, something was going on with his license plate. Then they ran the plate, and I think they got a hit. So in the process of trying to I guess arrest him, she pulled out her gun. She thought it was a taser. In the body-worn camera, you can hear her say, "Taser, taser," and then she shot him. She is on trial right now. And that's an image of her from her on trial. She is all in her tears. Look at her. Oh, that's on the scene right here. That's on the scene. And this is Officer Kim Potter afterwards. She's no longer an officer. And she broke down on the witness stand. More white tears. I'm sorry I killed him. This ish gets so old. And I don't know if she's crying because she is crying for her life. Like, her life could end. She could go to jail. It could be disrupted. Here's another picture. Look at that. Oh, man. I didn't mean to shoot him. Her defense is arguing that, and get this, as much as she sees these faces right here, get what her defense is arguing. And if I'm wrong about this, please set me straight. Caller coming straight to you. Her defense is that it was a mistake, but if she wanted to, she could have shot him and killed him. That's her defense. Her defense is, it's a mistake. I didn't mean to kill him. But if I wanted to, I could have. So even though it was a mistake, since I could have killed him anyway, even though it was a mistake, oops, my bad, let me go home. That's what her defense is in a nutshell. I kid you not, family. Her defense is that Dante Wright did some things that qualified him to get one in the chest. I didn't mean to give him one in the chest, but I could have, so you got to let me go. I'm not making this up, family. We are living in the last days. Like, people just don't, whether it's big things or small things, people just they don't fall on the sword no more, do they? Nobody takes responsibility for their actions anymore. It's always somebody else's fault. It's my mommy's fault. It's my daddy's fault. It's his fault because he should have not resisted arrest, right? It's always somebody else's fault. I kid you not. That's like an overall breakdown of it from a legal standpoint. If any legal minds are out there and you got a different or a better angle on it, please call me and let me know. But as I read what the defense is saying, that's what they're saying. They're saying, oops, my bad. It was a mistake. I didn't mean to kill this young man, but I could have. So what's the big deal? Right? That is amazing to me. But let's go to the phones. Let's go straight to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nathan. How are things?
Things are well, Fame. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. I think you're overanalyzing that officer. I mean, she's on trial for murder. I mean, if I'm on there, I'm gonna say whatever. I'm gonna throw a million things against the wall. I hope something sticks. But the fact is, your fatal mistake was fatal for him. Therefore, you're gonna pay. That's all. You know what I'm saying? I don't. I just. I'll let analyzing her statements, to me, I just think that's just I just think that's overkill. Like, hun, you killed a guy and he didn't need to die. You know what I'm saying? That little last part, I'm just like, man. You know, I mean, if I'm on trial for murder, I'm saying whatever. I've got to beat this body. So I'm saying whatever. I hope something sticks with the jury. But I want to address TNT. She talking about some type of a fight, some video of a fight. Me and homie have never had a fight. We never came to blows. Never raised our voices. Never had a coarse word. So I don't know what she's talking about, like some video, but that's a parallel to the organization she's with, the NAACP. You know, she's using old, tired-ass jokes that have no more legs anymore, that are played out, and that's why she represents that organization, the NAACP. It's played out. It has no more legs anymore. And, you know, it's running off of borrowed time. It's so ineffective, just like her joke was. Ineffective, unfunny. You know, I talked to one of her cousins last week. They told me that the family started saying that TNT stands for that Negro Tashima. You understand me? Young lady, I'm going to talk with your dad next. We're going to get you right. The NAACP, led by a biracial guy with a white wife, fake-ass W.E.B. Du Bois ass cat, out here leading y'all down a black hole when the soul of the NAACP is 75% a white woman. If he's the leader. Let's just keep it a bean. Do you follow me?
I mean, I hear you.
Okay,
I mean,
that's all I want you. I just want to be heard. If you don't pick up the message, that's on you, or maybe that's on me for not delivering it properly.
I think it's on you.
As long as you hear the message,
properly, and I get the message. You know, I get the message. You got some elements of self-loathing. You got an issue with black people, and you're still working it out. I get it.
Yeah, you know the biggest black person I have an issue with?
Yourself.
Brian Taylor. Who'd you say?
Yourself. You're the biggest. The black persons you got the biggest problem with is from what I hear from your brother, it's yourself.
Okay, that's what you hear. I don't feel obligated to defend that. If that's what you hear, that's what you hear.
Right.
Maybe I'm not presenting it properly, but it is what it is. I know I ain't never led no black folks to get killed. I ain't never led no folks to get killed, and I ain't never compared black people to a savage animal that turns on people.
You want to clap for that?
You understand me? Say what?
You want some clapping for that, or you want some?
I don't want any clapping. I don't need any clapping.
Oh, okay.
I don't need any clapping. That's what he did.
Oh, okay.
Unless you deleted that show, that's what he did.
That's a stretch, but okay.
It's not a stretch. It's real. But listen, man. Apparently, you didn't tell Christian Boykin what I said about him last week.
I haven't talked with Christian. Yes. No, I have not.
Yeah, because the brother just insulted me all last night. I'm like, damn, I was just speaking high praise about you last week, and this the mother flipping thanks I get?
Well, what were you talking about? You might deserve it.
No, he talking about some, all I do is troll. I'm like, what?
You do a lot of trolling. You do a lot of trolling, brother. I mean, it is what it is. Can we be real with one another?
I don't deserve these insults.
It's not an insult. I'm using a word that
I don't deserve these insults.
I didn't bring the word up.
I don't deserve these. I don't deserve these insults.
It's not an insult if it's true.
But here's the thing. You were talking about black radio. Let me bring this home.
Yeah.
There's two lanes that black media is going to go. Either extra fake woke or a vanity box for the host, where they can just go out there, talk greasy, and any challenges that come to them, they'll say you're trolling, because they're so stuck on themselves that there's no way that nobody can have an opinion adverse to what they're saying. And that's going to be a problem for the community.
I think there's more options than that. But explain,
No,
give me an
there's not more.
example of extra. You said extra fake woke. Is that what you said?
Yeah, extra fake woke.
Give me an
Jamil
example
Hill.
of extra fake woke.
Jamil Hill and Angela Rye. Next question.
Extra fake woke.
Yes, talking extra BBB stuff. Basic, banal, black speak.
Nah, I wouldn't put them in that category, but okay.
I mean, if you disagree, again, I feel no. I'm just saying, I'm not vain enough to sit here and argue with you. If you disagree, I'll respect your disagreement. You understand me? But that's where we're headed. You can't challenge nobody's opinion. There's a podcast out there with well, I ain't gonna even go there. Never mind.
Well, I think
But
it's never what you do, but how you do it. I think maybe you should rethink your approach. Maybe
no, I ain't rethinking jack.
Saying, but how you're delivering.
Fame can only no. Fame can only be fame. I ain't rethinking jack.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the problem then. Now,
hey, I didn't I tell you podcast would be vain?
I just told you. I mean, I think we figured it out. The problem is you're not flexible enough. You don't care about how you say things to people because you're fame. People just got to deal with you. And so that's why people are saying you trolling, because you probably are. I knew it.
No, I don't troll, dude. I don't troll. I resent that.
Why?
And I don't really.
I mean, if the
I don't
shoe
think
fits,
it's funny,
brother. I mean, you troll.
I got a club foot, Nathan.
I'm sorry.
You're not funny.
I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just trying to.
I got a club foot. I'm handicapped. I got a handicapped card in my car, and you want to make fun of my foot.
Oh, I didn't know you had a foot problem.
Yeah, I put it too far up somebody's ass, and it didn't come back out.
Yeah, your own.
You understand me?
Flexible.
But yeah, I'm sorry.
I said you put up your own ass. You're pretty flexible. Where are we going with this?
I'm sorry. I can't even picture that visual.
Where are we going with this conversation?
You the one that made it go left saying that dumb shit. You put it up your own ass.
I made it go. All the dumb shit you said about people, and I made it go left. Oh my God, that is hilarious.
I was addressing. I wasn't even gonna call today. I was just chilling. You see, I was up at 3-4 in the morning with your former coworker. You understand me?
To the real Terrence Howard.
Yes.
Where'd you see him at?
Yes, at the gym. You see all them damn treadmills?
Okay.
Yeah, at the gym.
Which gym?
Which
gym?
Anytime Fitness, North Bend Road.
Okay. Cool.
West Side. There's 3 black people, at least 3 black people on the West Side now. Myself, Donnie B, and him.
Great to hear.
So yeah, instead of all these rallies at the Bond Hill Recreation Center, we can have some over at LaSalle High School.
Sounds like
you
fun.
Understand? But yeah,
I think you owe some people an apology.
For what?
For the crazy, slick and greasy shit you've been talking this morning. I'm giving you an opportunity to, make amends before you.
What did I say that was sick? Who I need to apologize? Man, your sponsor?
You talked about TNT. You talked about
TNT. Talked about me.
Joe. You talked about
TNT. Talked about me. TNT talked about me. Did she not?
I don't know. She didn't call in talking about you.
She left it in the comments and you read it.
Why didn't you leave it in the comments?
Because there was no fight with the alt middle. That's what I'm saying. That shit's dead.
Oh. Okay.
That's dead. Them jokes ain't funny.
We still think it's funny.
It's time to move on.
Nah, it's not. Mm-mm.
Y'all gonna turn that into a running gag and kill it like John not voting. That shit that died in 2012. Y'all still doing it 9 years later.
You absolutely reading the tea leaves correctly. I'm definitely gonna do that. I'm gonna ride the hell out of that shit. You're right about that. See how honest I am?
Well, I mean, hey, I can't tell you how to direct your show. All I can do is decide how important it is to my morning.
Exactly. But you're right. I'm gonna ride that shit like Zorro. You're right.
And a couple about a week ago, whatever you were talking about, Joe Madison.
Yeah.
Acting like he's walking up towards death's door with his right. with his fake woke smoothie diet.
I wouldn't call it fake woke, but okay.
Yeah, he's being fake woke, acting like he's protesting in the forum for black people when he's actually just on a smoothie diet.
Right, correct.
You know, fooling people like civil rights leaders have done to us for 150, 200 years.
Some in civil rights, some not in civil rights. You're right.
You know, and when I was dissecting that Joe Madison thing, I clearly realized that if I take out the words Joe, the Black Eagle Madison, and insert Black Lives Matter local leader Brian Taylor, he's talking about the same issue. Joe Madison fronting like he's walking to death's door in the name of black people. Brian Taylor taking people to death's door in the name of black people.
I still don't get it, brother. I think you think you've got something here.
I think Brian Taylor's a sponsor, and you don't like hearing the truth about that
big
sucker.
Brother, let me tell you, I would leave that one alone. There's nothing really there.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes you have some great flows. That's not one of them. It doesn't make any sense. I'm just trying to tell you, my little bro.
It's just that's your man's in them.
It ain't
that's
about
all.
that. It's just about you're my man's in them, and I can't have my little bro out here sound like a damn fool. I'm trying to get you to stop, and you will not listen. But okay.
How am I the little brother?
What you mean, how are you little brother? Because
I'm not your little brother. If anything, I'm your uncle.
Man, little bro.
You can call me Uncle
You sound
Fame.
just like a little brother. I always want to be older than what you really are. Okay, I got you, little bro. Anything else?
Yeah, I had a hustle before yours, and I'm older though. You understand? But hey, it's been real. I had fun. TNT, you don't do that again, or else I'm going in. I'm gonna tell everybody about that time you burned them sloppy joes.
Ooh, you going in? Okay.
I'm gonna go in.
We wouldn't want you to go in
because it's a legendary story about them sloppy joes.
Okay.
You understand me?
Right.
But hey, it's been real, Nathan. I had fun.
So did I.
And it's always a pleasure. We might talk again.
Ooh,
if you lose the attitude.
Ooh, man.
Oh!
You can keep your attitude, brother. Keep it. That brother's got some self-loathing you're dealing with, man. Some I don't like myself kind of shit. Just deal with that, man. Don't project that on the other people. And you do be trolling people. And if Brother Christian Boykin had to let you know about yourself, then he had to let you know about yourself. It is what it is. It is what it is. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nathan. It's TNT. How you doing today?
TNT. How you doing?
I'm okay. I just heard Goofball on the line. I don't know who he think he talking to. I don't even know why he mad. Like, it's just a joke. You know what I mean? It's all jokes. We're just playing. And really, in the little video, maybe he hasn't had a chance to see it. I had pegged him the one that won, you know? But anyway, saying, you know where to find me. And you can always say these things to my face. But matter of fact, the last time you saw me in my face, you was trying to holler. But I don't want you. Okay? So take your greasy, ashy, woofy behind on. I don't just go holler at your girl, Donnie B. You know what I'm saying? Try that. But you don't have a snowball chance in hell. So you can come for me if you want, but I am who I am, and I said what I said, and I'm going to do what I do. And keep in mind, the type of activist I'm not a reverend. There's no bishop in front of my name. I'm no good Negro, you know. I'm an activist. You understand? So the way I move is the way I move. You might get cussed out dealing with someone like me. You know what I mean? I don't claim to be perfect. I just try to be righteous. You understand? And I do a lot for my community. Besides having my own family, my own life, I volunteer my time for my community. And that's respectable and honorable to me, and apparently a whole lot of people, because they vote me in the position that I am. A lot of the work that you see coming out of the Cincinnati NAACP is stuff that I spearhead through my committee. So you could say what you want, but I do a lot. I know I do a lot, and I don't need confirmation from low level Negro like you. So I'm going to just end that there and get to the point that I really wanted to call about, which was the defense with the Dante Wright court situation. It was two things. So I guess their defenses too. Dante, they believe, caused his own death by trying to flee. We always hear that. And then 2 was, like you said, she tried to say she could use deadly force because she feared her partner being dragged in the car, right? The problem with that, which I'm so happy that the prosecution laid out, was that in order for her to use the taser, she had to be in a situation where Dante was unable to operate the vehicle, which at that point he wasn't, because it was 2 other officers. The officer she had in training, the young black man, Lucky, which was at the driver's side, had one hand, and then there was another officer coming through from the passenger side, went over his female friend and grabbed and had his hand on the clutch, and then eventually was grabbing Dante's other hand to kind of bring it together to be handcuffed, which if she would have just allowed that process to happen, they really had him. But she came in with the belief she had a taser or a gun or whatever, but claiming now in the same breath she said, "I know I can use a taser." She's saying, "But I could have killed him." Well, the only way you can kill him if he was in imminent danger. So the imminent danger was also the belief that Dante was going to drive off with the officers in the car. But she saw they both had his hand. And so they only let go of his hand when she was like, "Taser, taser, taser," because that's a warning to them to kind of back up, get out the way. I'm about to try to shop. Because otherwise, deploying a taser in that type of situation, which it still end up being a bad move when a person is in a car, because once he got shot or tased, he involuntarily still pulled off. He was he was shot in the heart. So it was like dying in seconds, and he still ended up crashing down the street. And that was all involuntary action. So even deploying the taser or even shooting a gun when a person is at the wheel, whether they had control of it or not, just was not the smartest situation. It also wasn't smart for her colleague to pull Dante out and then try to arrest him right behind his car door. Usually they bring you to the hood of your car or to the street, away from you trying to evade and escape. He just literally brought him to the back seat part of his car. And that's how he was able to, in a few seconds, slide right back in. So that was a mistake on his part. And she was even challenged on that. She's supposed to be the trainer of this, new recruit. And, she should have told him, take him to the hood of the car, take him to the sidewalk as we, talk to him or whatever. Didn't do that. But I'm glad that they pointed out in prosecution that, okay, well, 1 minute you're saying that, you had authorization to use the taser because he didn't have operation of the vehicle because both your partners had his hand. But then in the same breath, you saying that you fear for your partner's life because he was about to speed off. You can't have it both ways, and then to say Dante caused his own death. I'm glad the prosecution laid out. It's that language where they say, if not for this, then this wouldn't happen. If not for Dante fleeing, he would not have died, that he would not have died. It's because if it was not for Officer Potter pulling out her gun, then Dante, would not have died. That's the element. That's the kill element. People flee all the time and don't end up dead at the end of it. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting. They're at jury deliberation. It's going to be hard because I think a lot of people feel like she made a mistake, even though the law there is not about intent, and it doesn't matter how remorseful or anything else. It's more or less about, was she reckless in her decision? Was she reckless in what she did? And she took a life. People do make mistakes. You can go in your car right now. I can go in my car right now with no intent of getting into a car accident that might be fatal to somebody. doesn't mean I woke up trying to hurt anyone today, but it can happen. And it all just depends on certain elements in that situation. If I was under the influence, if I made a wrong, improper turn or whatever, to make me liable, make my decision making reckless. And that happens every day to people being good people. Like, she has from my understanding, an incredible record, and she probably was a good officer for the most part, but she made a reckless decision that day that the taser is completely different color, different weight, and it's really going to be incumbent on the jury to decide if what she did was reckless, or if they want to bite at Dante, causing his own death, or if they believe, that she truly believed that her partner was in danger. But I'm glad the prosecution brought out some of those points, but it's up in the air. I think it's about majority white people and like one African American and 2 Asian people on the jury right now. So, but that's all I got. I know you're trying to wrap up, so thank you for letting me get that.
Appreciate the call. Take it easy. Almost deaf. So the defense says a mistake is not a crime. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not your intent, but it's the impact. So maybe her intent wasn't for her to shoot him, but that's the impact. And you gotta deal with it. That happens all the time with adults. You mean one thing, but your impact ends up being a second thing. You end up apologizing for the impact. Like, oops, my bad. I didn't mean it that way. I think this is dangerous. If Kim Porter can get away with this legal argument, as I understand it, then basically that means is police officers can do whatever they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can make a mistake like that and walk away and say, oops, my bad. Well, in this situation, I could have killed him anyway. So, hey, basically your life is at my hands. I can do what I want to do. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you for being here, everybody. I really appreciate you. About to make a move. I'll be back in with you, and hopefully better than ever tomorrow morning, bright and early, 7 a.m. Thank you for checking out the show today. I really appreciate you. And remember our motto: winners focus on winning. Losers focus on winners. So stay winning and stay focused, and we'll talk real soon. Until next time, I'm Nathan Ivey, and I'm out.